2. From ABC, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. We begin tonight with news of two major government personalities. Late today, the White House announced that William Ruckelshaus is resigning as head of the Environmental Protection Agency. Ruckelshaus was brought in during March of '83 to clean up the agency after it had become bogged down in scandal. The White House had wanted him to stay on, but he is going back to business. And this is the other major personality in the news today, Senator Robert Dole of Kansas. He is the new Senate Majority Leader. He holds one of the most influential posts in the U.S. government. Republicans in the Senate today chose him the new majority head because the Republican Party still has control of the Senate. We'll talk to Senator Dole about his new job and about what is ahead on taxes and the budget in just a moment. First, Ann Compton on how power in the Senate changed hands.
The 53 Republican senators locked the doors and began casting the only secret ballots ever allowed in Congress. When the new leadership team emerged, it was clear that moderates took most of the key positions, led by Bob Dole as the new majority leader.
I think I've demonstrated to some extent that I can get things done. I do work hard, and I get along with a lot of people on both sides of the aisle.
As the aggressive chairman of the Tax Writing Finance Committee, Dole has never been shy about telling the president that he's wrong. Now, as majority leader, Dole will have the power to make or break any program from the Reagan White House.
I think there is this fine line between the executive branch and the legislative branch, and we do have institutional responsibilities. We have priorities from time to time, and obviously we'll have some disagreements, but I don't see any problem.
Dole's style is not likely to be as accommodating as Howard Baker's, who sacrificed Senate discipline in favor of compromise. Nor do senators expect another absolute power like Lyndon Johnson, although Johnson was the only leader to move on to the presidency, a feat Dole hopes to accomplish in 1988. Today's Republican election also ended the other great suspense story on Capitol Hill. Once moderate Richard Lugar lost, he announced he will take over chairmanship of the Foreign Relations Committee, leaving North Carolina's Jesse Helms as head of agriculture. That will come as an acute disappointment to conservatives who plan to blanket North Carolina tomorrow with newspaper ads urging Helms to make foreign policy his conservative priority. Come January, the new Senate may not sweep in with dramatic change, but the leaders do hope for a new kind of independence here. Ann Compton, ABC News, Capitol Hill.
Senator Dole is now standing by in the Senate television gallery. Senator, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Senator Baker said he was leaving the job to run for president, and you were seeking your present job to run for president as well. Can you be both majority leader and a presidential candidate?
Well, first, I'm not certain I'm running for president, but I think Howard and I have a little different view on if you are running for president, how you best do it. He may be right, but I haven't made any judgment about running for president.
Is it an impossibility to be majority leader and also run for president?
Well, I don't believe so. I mean, it seems to me that not much will happen in that area before 1987. I have a re-election race in 1986 in Kansas for my Senate seat, so I'll put most of my focus there. But no, I don't see any inconsistency.
Senator, you're going to be getting a lot of proposals from the president before very long. Do you think that tax reform, as it was laid out yesterday by the Treasury Secretary, has a chance up there?
It's going to be very difficult, but we have to recognize this study's been in process for a year. This is not something that was tossed together in the last 30 days. There's been a lot of thought, a lot of work. I want to commend Secretary Regan and the Treasury staff, but it's a lot to digest. We're going to have to spend a lot of time. It's going to take a big, big push from the White House. The president's still studying it, so I think it's going to be probably 2 or 3 weeks before we really know how much push is going to be behind it.
Senator, if you don't mind, we'd like you to stand by for just a second and comment on some budget proposals. The president's budget team has now reported in, and tonight Mr. Reagan is considering a budget proposal which would significantly reduce and in some cases eliminate spending for many government programs. As our White House correspondent Sam Donaldson reports, nearly everything but Social Security is on the table, including defense.
They gathered at the White House this morning, the administration's budget team, to brief the president on a budget-cutting plan. And if the ghost of Jack the Ripper seemed to hover overhead, no wonder. Budget Director David Stockman, reading from a black-bound notebook, proposed to terminate immediately or phase out many popular but costly government programs. Farm price supports, urban development assistance grants, small business loans, Amtrak railroad service, and most housing programs. Costs would be reduced in civil service retirement and Medicare. All this, said Stockman, could save $130 billion over the next 3 years. But there was more. The defense budget would be cut below administration projections, held in a so-called standstill mode to a 1% increase next year over the projected inflation rate, a total increase of 5.5%. Military pay and retirement benefits would be frozen. Weapons purchases would be stretched out. But the MX missile and Star Wars missile defense project would be retained. The defense savings could be $58 billion over the next 3 years. All this budget cutting, domestic and defense, would reduce the expected deficit by about half by fiscal 1988 to $99 billion. All of this, of course, would not appear to be politically doable. Secretary Weinberger has already weighed in against curtailing the defense budget. Many members of Congress have already denounced the idea of curtailing their constituents' favorite programs. And the White House was quick to say today the president has made no decisions. He wants to think it all over for a few days. Still, the authors of the plan think it was useful to present it, pointing up as it does the difficulty in attacking the deficit through budget cutting alone, with no tax increase. Pointing that up for all to see, including Ronald Reagan. Sam Donaldson, ABC News, the White House.
Senator Dole is still with us in Washington. Sam used the phrase politically doable. Senator, do you think those budget proposals are politically doable?
Well, they're very difficult. They'd be very difficult to do, but I think we can't have it both ways. We can't go out and talk about spending restraint and not face up to it. So, like the president, I think we'd like to take a look at it. Obviously, there are going to be some compromises, some changes, maybe some substitutions, but we're going to have to do something. Either do it on a program-by-program basis or have a spending freeze across the board, as many of my colleagues advocated last year.
Or something else, sometimes called new taxes.
Well, maybe that would be a last resort, as I understand it. And again, I don't think we dare discuss new taxes until we spend a lot of time looking at spending restraint, because if we start talking about taxes and tax increases, it's going to be hard to get anybody to cut spending.
In a quick phrase, Senator, can you really get $100 million out of the budget?
$100 billion?
$100 billion, you're quite correct.
Yeah, $100 million I can make. $100 billion is going to be very tough.
Thank you very much for joining us. Senator Robert Dole, the new majority leader in the Senate. In tonight's Other Money Matters on Wall Street, lower bond prices and fears of what the tax reform proposals might do to corporate profits sent stocks down almost 15 points in moderate trading. Later in this broadcast, mechanical heart patient William Schrader eating his first solid food since the operation. A man said to be a Soviet mole appears in court, and a radical new look for America's next generation of fighter planes.
This is World News Tonight, brought to you by Kellogg's Special K.
Thanks to the K, you can't pinch an inch. Thanks to the K, you can't pinch an inch on me.
With the help of the 220-calorie Kellogg's Special K breakfast and those big, crispy, low-sugar, high-protein flakes, I can't think of a tastier or better way to start my day.
Thanks to the K, you can't pinch an inch on me.
From now on, there's a better way to glue. The Thermogrip brand hot glue gun is perfect for easy repairs because it sets in 60 seconds. Thermogrip bonds to almost anything without clamping or mixing. Thermogrip creates beautiful crafts because its unique trigger controls the amount of glue. Thermogrip even caulks windows and tile, all without any odor or mess. The Thermogrip hot glue system from Emhart. The future of gluing is here today. Thermogrip.
There was another twist today in the story of alleged sexual abuse of children in Jordan, Minnesota. The only person to plead guilty in the case, James Rudd, now says he lied when he implicated other Jordan residents in stories of alleged child sex parties. 24 other adults were indicted on child sexual abuse charges. 2 were tried and acquitted. Charges were dropped against all the others. Excuse me. In Louisville today, doctors are still very pleased with the progress of William Schrader, the man with the artificial heart. So pleased, in fact, that today he ate his first real meal. Here's ABC's George Strait.
William Schrader got some help with his first meal from his wife, Margaret. She fed him juice, hot cereal, and a chocolate milkshake. Nurses say he really liked the shake. Schrader's still listed in critical condition, but his doctors say he and his artificial heart are making excellent progress. He's alert and even joking with the staff.
While drinking water to swallow a pill, he commented that water tastes terrible. That stuff could kill a person.
Just 3 days into the experiment, Mrs. Schrader told doctors it's a success.
That he, in her mind, had already lived and was more comfortable today and in the past 24 hours than he had been for months prior to the surgery.
Plastic tubes connect Mr. Schrader to a 300-pound compressed air and electrical power system that keeps the heart pumping. It can move, but it's very limiting. But this may offer him more mobility. A portable drive system made in West Germany. It weighs 11 pounds and could be worn over the shoulder. It's been tried successfully on animals, and tomorrow will be tried on William Schrader. Meanwhile, hospital officials are already planning for Mr. Schrader's release. Several people have scoured this nearby neighborhood and others for a house in which the Schraders could live should his progress continue. With this case, doctors hope to find out if the artificial heart can improve the quality of a patient's life. But those experiments will have to wait because William Schrader is still critical and has only progressed to the point of sitting up and dangling his legs off the side of the bed. George Strait, ABC News, Louisville.
For the better part of the week, the President's Commission on Organized Crime has been meeting in Washington. Today, the focus was on the huge profits generated from buying and selling cocaine. As ABC's Kenneth Walker reports, it's an ever-widening circle of violence and corruption. It involves individuals, legitimate businesses, foreign governments, and guerrilla movements.
American agents took this film of a Colombian government raid last March on a major cocaine lab hidden deep inside the jungle. The raiders found enough raw materials and finished cocaine to produce $252 million worth of the drug. Also discovered was a leftist guerrilla dormitory complete with weapons. The guerrillas allegedly are providing protection for the smugglers. Government agents destroyed the complex after seizing the drugs and the weapons. These three former drug smugglers told the commission of paying huge bribes to top officials in the Bahamas, the major transshipment point of illegal drugs from South America to the U.S.
I'm talking about high officials of the Bahamas, which had taken money from me, which I paid them off. And as of last week, they're still in power, they're still operating.
Garcia also claimed that the head of the Cuban intelligence service offered to allow drug smuggling through his country. The commission also heard about the involvement of small business in drug trafficking. Jack DeVoe used to operate a Florida commuter airline, but found the lure of cocaine millions too much to resist. He claimed bank officials in Miami helped shield the money from federal banking laws. The smugglers also learned when to avoid U.S. customs.
The ideal time was during a Miami Dolphins football game or when it was raining outside. The customs agents tend to stay inside and listen to the football game or watch it.
But some smugglers weren't so lucky. This infrared film showed federal agents tracking a nighttime marijuana drop to a secret airstrip in Georgia.
He's crashed. He's just crashed. The plane broke apart. I'd say we have fatalities.
With cocaine production now at record levels, commission testimony suggests that despite the risk, drug smuggling may be getting too profitable to contain. Kenneth Walker, ABC News, Washington.
The National Weather Service got out its crystal ball today and took a long look at what this winter will be like. The very long-range outlook is for colder than normal temperatures in much of the west, warmer in the east. As for precipitation, sometimes known as rain and snow, the forecasters predict a fairly wet winter, with the greatest chance for rain or snow in the Midwest and the Atlantic states. Modern science, it now appears, agrees with the Farmer's Almanac. When we return, a look at the next generation of American jet fighters.
The big names, the big sale. You're gonna say big at the big name sale.
Chick jeans, $11. $11.
With rebates.
That's great.
Bad chick fit.
It is it.
You're gonna be big on the big name sale.
And chick jeans.
Spot me 500. What good looking man isn't big on these big name slacks?
Private club shirts and ties.
The big names.
What's so small about the big name sale?
The prices.
They're the nicest.
But only till Saturday. Kmart. We've got it, and we've got it good.
There are lots of times when overnight is just not fast enough.
Hello, Federal? I've got to get this to the coast today.
With ZapMail, we can get an exact copy of something clear across the country in just 2 hours from the minute you pick up the phone. Contracts, documents, drawings, whatever. Incredibly, in just 2 hours. ZapMail from Federal Express, when overnight is just not fast enough.
Morning, Miss Stevens.
Good morning.
Mr. Lewis?
After you buy IBM equipment for your business, we don't stop trying to make it even better. And if we make an engineering change, as part of our maintenance agreement, an IBM service representative will stop by and make the change.
You ask him. Good as new? Better than new.
Our service representatives don't just keep your machines running. They make your machines run better.
He said it was better than new.
Think you can fix a 53 Studebaker?
IBM.
A major debate within the Reagan administration is now fully in public view. It is a debate over how and when American troops should be used to enforce American foreign policy. Here's ABC's John McWethy.
Caspar Weinberger and George Shultz have been feuding in private for 2 years. Today, their bitter disagreement boiled into public view in a Weinberger speech. He urged extreme caution in using American military muscle to bolster foreign policy.
Recent history has proven that we cannot assume unilaterally the role of the world's defender.
2 years ago, Weinberger strenuously argued against sending lightly armed Marines on a peacekeeping mission to Beirut. Shultz argued in favor of it and carried the day. The peacekeepers were soon engulfed in combat.
If we determine that a combat mission has become necessary because of our vital national interests, then we must send forces capable to do the job and not assign a combat mission to a force configured for peacekeeping.
George Shultz has been an advocate of using a show of military force to add strength to foreign policy. Weinberger said today that American troops should be used only when Congress and the American people fully support the move and only when the forces are sent to an area to win. These, Weinberger said, were his tests for sending troops.
They're intended to sound a note of caution. Caution that must be observed prior to committing our forces to combat overseas. When we ask our military forces to risk their lives in such situations, a note of caution is not only prudent, but it is morally required.
Ronald Reagan's second term may be a new start for him, but for Shultz and Weinberger, it appears to be business as usual. They disagree. John McWethy, ABC News, the State Department.
Well, one area where there is little policy disagreement between Secretaries Shultz and Weinberger is the need to modernize America's military capabilities. The newest American jet fighter is now off the drawing board and on to the test trip at Edwards Air Force Base in California. ABC's Pentagon correspondent Rick Inderfirth got an early look.
Meet the X-29, the forerunner of a new generation of American jet fighters. It hasn't gotten off the ground yet, but expectations are soaring. Take those forward-swept wings. They're designed to give the X-29 unprecedented maneuverability, allowing it to make tighter turns and fly faster in combat than any plane has ever flown before. But those backward wings are unstable, like trying to throw an arrow feathers first. So the X-29 has 3 onboard computers making 40 mid-flight course corrections per second, just to keep the plane from tumbling out of control and ripping apart. Chuck Sewell will be the first man to fly it.
If I lose all 3 computers at the same time, or if I lose all 3 computers, period, one at a time or whatever, the airplane will self-destruct in 0.2 of a second. And that's not very much time. No time for escape.
The X-29 is now here at Edwards Air Force Base, getting ready for its first flight test. And it's joining several other advanced experimental planes already at Edwards, like the AFTI F-16. That stands for Advanced Fighter Technologies, and it includes some amazing new aircraft designs, like these little wings attached to the fuselage called canards.
They allow us to flat turn the airplane or turn without banking, to point the airplane without changing the flight path, or fly sideways, if you will.
And in combat, flying sideways could be a decided advantage. They're changing things inside the cockpit, too, installing sophisticated equipment like the voice command system.
With that, the pilot can talk to his airplane, and he can throw switches in the cockpit by voice.
And then there's the futuristic helmet-mounted sight.
And with that gun sight in front of my right eye, I can move my head to any direction I can see, and I can put that gun sight on a target.
These fighters of the future are still at least 10 years away from production, but already the aerospace giants are gearing up for the competition. Their directive from the Pentagon: take major risks to make spectacular advances. And that's something they intend to do, especially with contracts of $20 billion plus awaiting the winner of that competition. Rick Inderfirth, ABC News, Edwards Air Force Base, California.
There is going to be a new voice speaking for the State Department sometime soon. Bernard Kalb, who's been asking questions at the State Department since 1975, most recently for NBC News, will soon be on the other side of the podium. Kalb has been named to replace the present spokesman, John Hughes. When we return, a man the government says was a Czechoslovakian mole inside the CIA.
It's a wonderful feeling when you start the day with Yoplait breakfast yogurt.
Falling in love again. Oh, yes, it's true.
Breakfast yogurts, walnuts, wheat grain, and real fruit.
What am I to do? I can't help it.
They're so chewy and substantial. Yoplait breakfast yogurt, now in 2 new flavors, sunrise peach and strawberry banana.
Falling in love again.
Mitsubishi believes you put a better picture on television by putting better thinking inside. Technology so extraordinary, it produces a color television picture that is incredibly rich, incredibly vivid. Whether you're watching in your living room, your den, or with 50,000 of your closest friends.
Not long ago, in an ancient town not far from Rome, some European restaurateurs gathered to taste some imported wines. The wines were all of high quality.
Buono.
But one wine in particular attracted special attention.
Elegante.
A wine from America.
Questa un'ua della California.
When asked to guess the price of the wine,
10.000.
most of the tasters guessed between $7 and $10.
Penso 15.
Except that is for one. An Italian restaurateur named Francesco Giambelli.
Nemmeno $3.
How could Signor Giambelli have been so sure about the price of the California wine? Because the wine the tasters chose that day
Gallo, per
was
favore.
the same wine he'd chosen years ago for his own restaurant in New York. The best liked white wine ever made in America, the Chablis Blanc of Ernest and Julio Gallo. From Ernest and Julio Gallo, all the best.
There was a court appearance in New York City today for the man accused by the government of having been planted in the Central Intelligence Agency as a spy for Czechoslovakia. As ABC's Stone Phillips reports, federal officials are afraid the alleged spy was in a position to do this country a good deal of damage.
Federal officials revealed today that 50-year-old Carl Kocher worked for the CIA for a total of 4 years, first as a translator in Washington, D.C., later as a contract employee in New York. Kocher appeared in federal court this afternoon, charged with passing to the Czechoslovakian Intelligence Service, or CIS, virtually all of the sensitive defense information and CIA personnel identifications he could obtain, including one 4-page document marked top secret.
He Xeroxed that document and folded it up into a cigarette box and passed it to another person. That person, in turn, made a pass of it to a CIS agent.
Also in custody as a witness is Kocher's wife, Hannah, described in court papers as the courier who delivered to Czech agents many of the documents her husband allegedly stole.
Hannah Kocher participated in meetings in New York City, Vienna, and in Czechoslovakia with CIS agents and with her husband, in which they discussed penetration of United States intelligence agencies.
The Kochers claim they've been dealing not in state secrets, but wholesale jewelry through their Manhattan business. And their lawyer says the couple feels the espionage charges are ridiculous.
The mood of my client, Mr. Kocher, is that this is Cold War hysteria.
Under FBI surveillance for more than 2 years, the Kochers lived in a posh New York apartment building. After being confronted by FBI agents last week, the Kochers sold their apartment Monday and were arrested just hours before boarding a flight to Switzerland. Although the FBI says Kocher signed a confession last Friday, his lawyer says he will plead not guilty. A bail hearing is scheduled for tomorrow, and the government says it will ask that both Kocher and his wife be held without bail for fear they may try to leave the country. Stone Phillips, ABC News, New York.
Overseas, for the first time since last February, negotiators from the U.S. and Soviet Union sat down at a conference table in Moscow to talk about controlling the spread of nuclear weapons beyond the present nuclear powers. It is one area where the two superpowers seem to be in general agreement, and the mood was described afterwards as being very upbeat. Well, there was certainly a rare news conference in Warsaw today. Poland's General Jaruzelski met with reporters from both East and West to defend his government's investigation into the murder of a pro-Solidarity priest, allegedly murdered by 3 policemen. Jaruzelski says the government will continue to try to find any higher-ups in the government who may be involved. In just a moment, call it the sweet smell of success, and it's just for truck drivers.
Isotoner? What's that? Well, I have this friend who returns every gift I ever give her.
Really?
So this year I'm giving her gloves. Isotoner brand gloves by Aris. Good looking. And I know the size is right because there's only one size. The special Isotona fabric adjusts to each finger for a custom fit. Isotoners fit like they were made for me. Well, in a way they were. Oh!
Give her the gift she won't return. Isotoner gloves by Aris.
At first, it was just an idea. An idea to build a promise into every appliance we make. A promise of pride in our workmanship to create good, honest quality. The promise of a product that assures you your money's worth. And finally, the promise of our entire company to stand behind each appliance. A promise we keep. The Whirlpool promise. It won't solve all your problems, but it's our promise to you to try to make your world a little easier.
Car repairs, guaranteed for life. Only participating Ford and Lincoln Mercury dealers guarantee thousands of repairs for as long as you own your car. You pay for a covered repair once, never again. Because the dealer who did the work will fix it free. Free parts, free labor for life.
No charge.
Terrific. The lifetime service guarantee, only from Ford and Lincoln Mercury dealers. We fix cars for keeps.
Tonight on Nightline with Ted Koppel, military special operations units. They're supposed to be the best. Why do ours seem programmed for failure while other nations do so well?
Finally on this broadcast, something special for the nation's truckers. And why not? They deliver the goods for us. They've even given us the CB radio, for better or worse. But with the holidays approaching, what can we give the trucker who has everything? We get the answer from ABC's Stephen Gear.
It's not an easy life on the long haul. 18 wheels and sometimes 18 hours on the road. The need for constant alertness at the wheel. When a driver pulls into a truck stop after miles on the highway, it's time to refuel both the truck and the body. A bit of recreation, perhaps, and the opportunity to pick up a few items to take home. This trucker is buying something for himself. Long Haul, the first designer cologne made especially for truck drivers. New on the market at truck stops around the country.
We did a lot of extensive market research in truck stops with drivers, trying to determine the right fragrance and right scent that they would like.
And do they like it?
I'll tell you what, I'll know more about it tonight after 9 hours.
We couldn't wait. Intrigued by the idea of sweet-smelling truck drivers, we conducted sniff tests at a Virginia truck stop.
It's got good odor. $16 a bottle, it should be good.
It's cheaper than a shower.
Is it French cologne?
I just don't like it.
It don't smell all that bad.
Not all truck drivers, of course, are men.
It's way too strong. Of course, some of these guys need something strong.
Some of them do.
To cover up what they really smell like.
Television, of course, has its limitations. You can't smell the product we've been talking about, so we have to describe the scent for you. It's got a hint of moss, a touch of citrus, and perhaps, just perhaps, a trace of diesel fuel. Stephen Gear, ABC News, Ashland, Virginia.
Come home, Stephen. That's our report on World News Tonight. I'm Peter Jennings. For all of us at ABC News, good night.
From ABC, this has been World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Wednesday, Colts in a terrifying race across Mexico.
We only got another 600 miles to go.
And the competition's a real killer.
You think that's a race official? No.
You tell Severs that if he wins this race, she's dead.
On the Volga.
Tonight.
'Tis the first days of Christmas, and all through the store, Fred's is stocking up gift sets galore. For him, cologne and aftershave by British Sterling, just $4.99. The earthy fragrance of Jovan Musk, gift set $6.79. Or the hearty scent of the Old Spice gift set, only $6.99. And for her, it's Love's Baby Soft Body Mist and Talc, now $4.99.
You always save more at Fred's.